Welcome on board, chosen one. Step in, wipe your feet on the lies they threw at you, and take your seat like the story was always yours. Funny how you're still here while the people who swore they'd crush you are now whispering your name like it's classified intel. They said you were nothing, remember? They said you'd fold, disappear, break, fade out. Yet here you are, and look at them, shaking, confused, pressed beyond belief, acting like the universe personally sent you to ruin their sleep schedule. Before we go any deeper, hit the like button and subscribe to pay this message back into the universe. That's your little thank you to the mission. Now let's talk about what really happened. When they mocked you, when they tried to embarrass you, when they threw your name around like dirt, none of it moved the universe. Not even a little. Because behind the scenes, something was shifting, something cold, something sharp, a force they didn't know existed until it started protecting you. What they said, you're alone. But the truth, you were never alone. And now they're realizing that way too late. Chosen one, the silence you're hearing lately, that's not peace, that's fear. Their fear. The kind that crawls under skin and makes their heartbeat pick up every time your name comes up in a conversation they're not supposed to hear. They thought you were finished, but the universe had other plans. The universe placed eyes on you, important eyes, eyes from high places, eyes that don't blink when danger shows up, eyes that don't play when someone tries to mess with what the universe marked as untouchable. The shift wasn't loud. It never is. Real power never walks into a room with fireworks. It moves like a shadow, slow and steady, until one day the whole environment feels different. You started noticing how certain attacks missed you, how certain people suddenly backed off, how certain situations that should have destroyed you somehow cracked open and revealed a way out. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was protection from places you don't have access to yet. When they said you were easy to break, they didn't know who had already stepped into your corner. It's almost funny watching them pretend they're not scared now, pretend they're over it, pretend they don't care anymore. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, they're replaying every moment they underestimated you like a bad movie that won't stop looping. They're trying to figure out why the universe sides with you so heavily, why their traps backfired, why their insults aged like spoiled milk while your silence aged like gold. Chosen one, the atmosphere around you changed because the universe got tired of watching you bleed for people who weren't even worth your shadow. So it moved things, it rearranged alliances, it put certain people in positions where they could see you clearly for the first time, and when they saw you, they understood something your enemies never wanted anyone to understand. You're dangerous, not because you're evil, not because you fight dirty, but because you survive in ways that make no sense. You survive attacks that were designed specifically to destroy you. You survive storms that were supposed to erase your identity. You walk out of trauma like someone the universe refuses to let fall. Let me tell you something they never wanted you to find out. A long time ago, someone in a high place noticed you. They saw you take blow after blow with no support, no praise, no applause. They saw the way you stayed loyal even when loyalty cost you everything. They saw the way your heart stayed clean even while people dragged your name through mud. They saw you trying to rise while others tried to step on your neck. And that someone said, "No, this one is not going down like this." And from that moment, things shifted. Conversations you were never supposed to hear started happening. People you didn't know you impressed started stepping in. The universe began redirecting certain dangers away from you because you'd already paid the price for things you didn't deserve. You thought you survived because you fought hard. You did fight hard, but that wasn't the whole story. Truth is, someone was watching, someone with reach, Someone with influence. Someone whose silence is louder than your enemy's threats. And you want facts. Here's one. The enemy's biggest mistake was assuming you were easy to isolate. They didn't know about the high places, the voices that matter, the people who study patterns, who pay attention, who can see through lies with one glance. They didn't know you were stamped with universal protection. They didn't know your story triggered something powerful. Look who's exposed now. Look who's scrambling. Look who's suddenly concerned. Look who regrets opening their mouth. They thought you were an easy target, but you turned out to be the one person they should have never crossed. Chosen one, you're not walking into your story. You're walking into the truth they tried to bury. And trust me, the universe is not done revealing what's been happening behind your back. The real show is just starting. Listen up, chosen one. Before we go any deeper into this wild truth about the unknown friends in high places who've been pulling strings for you, I need you locked in with full focus. If you're really ready to understand how far the universe has gone to protect you, then prove it. Drop a 999 in the comments so I know you're one of the rare ones who can handle what comes next. That number isn't random, it's a signal. It tells me you're not running from this story, you're stepping into it. And now we move forward, step by step. Stay with me, because if you're truly one of the chosen ones, you'll feel that strange pull in your chest right now. The urge to keep watching, to stay until the final reveal, because something in you already knows this message is connected to your life. This isn't just a video, it's a warning, it's a blueprint, it's the truth they hoped you would never uncover. Take a breath, lock in, and don't blink. We're about to peel back the next layer, and trust me, you're not ready for what's coming. Number 1. Their dumbest misread ever just became your greatest weapon. Funny how the people who swore they could finish you are now praying nobody finds out they ever tried. They really thought you were alone. That was the first joke of the story. Your enemies convinced themselves that your quiet was the same thing as being powerless, that your humility meant you had nothing backing you, that your isolation meant you had no reach, no support, no protection. They built their entire attack plan on a misunderstanding of who you actually were. And chosen one, that misread is the reason they're scared to even say your name right now. What they never understood is that your silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. You weren't isolated, you were insulated, you weren't overlooked, you were observed, you weren't abandoned, you were being watched over by forces that never needed permission to act on your behalf. In their eyes, you were an easy target, an unguarded door, a cracked window. But in the eyes of the universe, you were an asset. Valuable, rare. And valuable things don't stay unprotected for long. Your enemies only saw what was on the surface: quiet steps, lowered head, soft voice. They didn't see the discipline behind it. They didn't see how you collected information instead of reacting. They didn't see how you studied their behavior while pretending you didn't notice a thing. They didn't see how your patience wasn't surrender, it was the calm before the reversal. They saw fragility. The universe saw precision. They saw defeat. The universe saw restraint. They saw someone breaking. The universe saw someone sharpening. And chosen one, that contrast is exactly what destroyed them. Your enemies counted on you losing control. They waited for you to snap, to panic, to lash out. They wanted chaos so they could blame you for it. They wanted noise so your truth would get buried under it. But you didn't give them any of that. You gave them silence. And nothing scares the guilty more than silence. Nothing exposes a coward faster than a target who refuses to react. While they mocked you, someone in a high place was watching. someone who had the range to see past the performance and into the truth, someone who had access to the kind of information your enemies were praying would stay hidden, someone who saw you stand alone and didn't confuse that with being unsupported. They saw your patience and knew it wasn't fear, it was maturity. They saw your humility and knew it wasn't insecurity, it was control. They saw your isolation and recognized it, not as insignificance, but as separation for elevation. Here's what the chosen ones always forget. People in high places don't protect chaos. They protect rarity. They protect discipline. They protect the ones who move differently. They protect the quiet ones who think before they strike. And you, chosen one, you were rarer than they realized. Your enemies had a simple question in their heads. Why aren't they fighting back? Why aren't they breaking down? Why aren't they reacting? The answer is humiliating for them. You were never fighting alone in the first place. The universe had already assigned watchers to you, not in a mystical or religious way, in a real, grounded way. People with authority, people with reach, people whose decisions ripple through rooms you don't even know exist. People who can shut down attacks without leaving fingerprints. People who can move your enemies out of your path without ever saying your name out loud. You think the attacks stopped because your enemies got bored? No, they stopped because someone smarter than them stepped in. You think the smear campaigns died because they moved on? No, they died because someone with influence decided their lies were a waste of space. You think the doors that suddenly opened were coincidence? No. Whether you saw it or not, someone in a high place nudged things into alignment for you. Someone made sure your name landed in the right rooms and stayed out of the wrong ones. Someone made sure the traps they set for you collapsed under their own weight. Your enemies didn't underestimate your strength, they underestimated your protection. And that's the part that haunts them. That's the part they replay at night. That's the part that makes them avoid your eyes whenever life forces them into the same room. They keep asking themselves, who is protecting you? Who is speaking for you? Who is watching over you? And the universe just smiles back at them through silence. Chosen one, understand something crucial. Some people in high places didn't choose to protect you because of your reputation. They protected you because of your pattern, your discipline, your character, your refusal to break under pressure, the way you carry pain with dignity, the way you rise without stepping on anyone. Those traits caught attention. Quiet traits always do. And once that kind of attention lands on you, you don't walk alone anymore. Your enemies made the fatal mistake of assuming nobody saw your value. But someone did. Someone with reach. Someone with power. Someone who understood exactly who you were long before you understood it yourself. They got involved not because you asked, but because you earned it. And this is the part they really can't stand. You never needed to clap back. You never needed to expose them. You never needed to humiliate them. Life did it for you. Your enemies lost because they attacked someone who wasn't fighting alone. They swung at you without calculating who stood behind you. They tried to bury you without realizing who monitored the ground they were digging in. The universe doesn't waste protection on fools. It invests in threats. And you, chosen one, are a threat to everything false. A threat to manipulation. A threat to cruelty. A threat to anyone who thrives on control. That's why you were protected. That's why doors opened. That's why attacks failed. That's why the people who tried to destroy you can't sleep right now. The mistake your enemies made wasn't attacking you, it was assuming you were alone. Because once the universe marks you as rare, it moves people into place to guard you before you even know you need guarding. Chosen One, your humility, your patience, your silence. These weren't weaknesses. They were signals, and the ones who understood those signals decided you were worth defending. Your enemies never saw that coming, and now they can never undo it. Number 2. The war behind your back that they never knew you won. Wild how they bragged about taking you down while someone way above their pay grade was quietly deleting their whole battle plan. Chosen One, let me drag this truth into the light. There was a war happening behind you, around you, underneath you, above you, long before you even realized you were a target. While you were busy trying to survive the day, entire strategies were being formed in silence to keep you alive. You weren't lucky, you weren't spared by coincidence. You were defended, protected, covered by forces so high up that your enemies would cry if they knew who stepped in on your behalf. Every scheme they launched, someone higher countered it. That sabotage campaign they whispered into life, someone with more reach watered it down until it died in their own hands. Even the attacks that felt random were softened before they reached you. They slammed into you like a storm. But trust me, Chosen One, those were storms already reduced to drizzle. Your enemies fought dirty. Life responded with a precision strike they'll never recover from. Imagine this. Someone tries to poison your name in a room you've never walked into, thinking you're defenseless. But sitting quietly in the corner is a person they didn't recognize, someone who has watched your story from afar, someone who knows your character better than the liar speaking. While your enemy is smiling, confident, believing they've ruined you, this silent observer picks up the truth instantly. And with one sentence, one subtle shift, the entire room turns against your attacker. They walk out confused. You walk out protected without ever knowing the conversation existed. That happened more times than you can count. Every moment you felt confusion, someone else felt urgency on your behalf. Every moment you felt alone, someone else stood up for you in silence. Every moment you felt weak, someone else used their power to hold the line. Just because you didn't see the battlefield doesn't mean you weren't the reason it existed. Chosen One, your life has been a series of redirected bullets. Things meant for you never reached you, not because your enemies failed, but because someone higher stepped in before the damage could land. Let's be honest. How many times did things almost go terribly wrong, then somehow flip in your favor? How many times did a crisis dissolve right before impact? How many times did someone randomly show up with just the right information or just the right timing to save you? You called it luck because you didn't know it was war, a hidden one, a strategic one, a war fought by people whose names you might never learn. Imagine this next scene. Someone tries to sabotage your job, laughing behind your back, thinking they've finally put an end to your progress. But what they don't know is that your work has already impressed someone 3 levels above them. So, when your enemy tries to plant the seeds of your downfall, that higher person steps in and says, "Don't touch them. They're needed." Just like that, the attack collapses. Your enemy is left frustrated, powerless, exposed. They don't know why their plan failed. They don't know who blocked them, but you walk away safe again. Protection doesn't always show up with noise. Sometimes it moves so quietly it feels like coincidence. Here's what has been happening behind the curtain. Someone has been intercepting the lies spoken about you. Someone has been rerouting the opportunities meant for you so they land safely in your path. Someone has been shutting down attacks before you ever had to see the warning signs. Your enemies were fighting a battle you never had to enter. Imagine thinking you're hurting someone, only to learn you've been wildly swinging at thin air while someone more powerful erases your blows. That's your enemies right now, swinging, sweating, stressing, while you're sitting here wondering why they look tired every time they see you. They know something happened. They just don't know what, or who, or why. Chosen one, answer this honestly. How many times have you wondered, why didn't that situation turn out worse? How did that person's plan fall apart so fast? How did I dodge something I didn't even know was coming? Because someone in high places, someone with real pull, decided your downfall wasn't happening on their watch. Imagine a chessboard. You're playing with limited visibility, thinking you're defending alone. But far above the board, someone else sees the entire field. Every trap, every threat, every move your enemy plots. You move one piece, but they move 10, quietly clearing your path. That was your life, a chess game rigged in your favor by someone who knew you were too valuable to lose. Your enemies tried to corner you. They ended up cornering themselves. They tried to ruin your reputation. They ended up exposing their own character. They tried to isolate you. They ended up isolating themselves when their attacks backfired. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was the shield that let your protectors move freely. Another metaphor. Imagine a sniper bullet fired at you from far away. You don't see it. You don't hear it. You don't even know someone pulled the trigger. But at the last second, a hand you'll never meet deflects that shot. You keep walking, unaware. Your enemy stands there confused, wondering how you survived a hit that should have been fatal. That's how deep this protection runs. Chosen one, there were nights you cried yourself to sleep because you thought nobody cared. Little did you know, someone you've never met was analyzing every threat against you with surgical precision. Someone you've never seen was countering attacks before they formed. Someone you don't even know exists was stepping between you and danger like it was their assignment. You weren't spared by luck. You were spared by strategy. You weren't protected by chance. You were protected by design. And here's the part your enemies choke on. You're not done. You're not defeated. You're not even wounded the way they hoped. Because while they acted like villains, someone in a higher position treated you like a priority. Someone chose to defend you because your path affects more than just your life. Someone decided that losing you was not an option. They were fighting you, but someone else was fighting for you. And that, chosen one, is why you are still standing when they expected your story to end chapters ago. Sometimes the universe protects you by letting your enemies dig a grave so deep. They fall into it before you even arrive. They don't understand why every trap failed, why every rumor died, why every hit missed, why every downfall turned into another rise. But you understand now. This wasn't luck. This wasn't chance. This wasn't random. This was war, a war you never had to fight because the universe already assigned shadows to do the fighting for you. Chosen one, walk forward knowing this. If the battles you never saw were already won, imagine what happens when you finally step into the battles you can see. Your enemies fear what protected you before. They haven't even met the version of you that knows the truth now. And trust me, they're not ready. Number 3, the ghosts in power who quietly claimed you as their own. Strange how the people trying to erase you had no idea someone in the shadows was already writing your name in permanent ink. There are individuals you'll never see, never hear, never tag online. They don't trend, they don't post selfies. They move through systems like silent storms, unseen but undeniably powerful. These are the ones who operate above the noise, above the gossip, above the petty drama your enemies drowned in. And at some point, chosen one, your name slid across their desk. Imagine that moment. They're flipping through information, scanning through chaos, and then something about you stops them cold. Maybe it was the way you refused to break under pressure. Maybe it was how you kept building when everything was falling apart. Maybe it was the calm you held while others were losing their minds. Whatever it wasn't suspicion, it wasn't doubt. It was recognition. Some people don't notice your worth until it threatens their agenda. The right people notice it the moment it appears. And once these ghosts in power saw you, the whole game shifted. They didn't clap. They didn't congratulate you. They didn't reach out. They simply started moving pieces behind the scenes. Quietly, precisely. Imagine someone attempting to sabotage you, thinking they finally have the perfect angle, only for their plan to collapse before it even begins. They don't know why. They don't know who interfered, but you were already covered. These unseen protectors didn't step in because you begged. They stepped in because you proved yourself through your actions. You earned their respect without ever meeting them. And the ones who tried to erase you, they were unknowingly swinging at a target shielded by people they could never reach. That's why you're still here, and why they can't sleep. Number 4. Why impossible doors swung open like they knew your name. Funny how your enemies called it luck, when it was really someone in the shadows pulling levers they'll never have access to. Chosen one, let's tear the curtain off this mystery. Those moments when everything felt like it was falling apart and suddenly a door opened. That wasn't kindness. That wasn't mercy. That wasn't some random stroke of luck dropping out of the sky because you smiled at the right time. That was coordination. That was strategy. That was someone in a higher place making a quiet decision. Move obstacles out of their way. They're under watch. Think back. That opportunity that came when you had nothing left. That person who defended you when you had no status. That path that formed right when every other door slammed shut. These weren't accidents. These were signals. Someone higher had already recognized your pattern, your strength, your discipline, and decided your story wasn't ending there. Imagine this. You're standing in front of a locked door, exhausted, ready to give up. Behind the scenes, someone you'll never meet sends one message, makes one call, shifts one decision, and suddenly the lock clicks open. You think it's timing. They know it's intervention. Impossible doors don't open for favored people. They open for protected people. Your enemies still don't get it. They think you stumbled into these wins by mistake. They think you were saved by coincidence. Meanwhile, someone in a higher position was quietly saying, "Let them through." They're not to be touched. And no, you weren't imagining the timing. Things opened exactly when they were supposed to, right when the universe needed you to keep going. So when those doors unlocked at the last second, it wasn't generosity. It was a warning to your enemies. This one is guarded. Step aside. Number 5. How your enemies got silenced before they ever reached you. Some threats don't disappear because they get scared. They disappear because someone more powerful whispers, "Not that one." Chosen one, let's break down the part nobody ever explains. The part that kept you alive while you thought you were barely hanging on. Your protectors didn't need fists, chaos, drama, or open warfare. They didn't storm in like movie heroes. They didn't flex. They didn't shout. They used something far more terrifying: leverage. One quiet word in the right ear. One document placed on the right desk. One reminder sent through channels you'll never see. That's all it took. Imagine someone gearing up to come after you. They're ready, desperate, obsessed. They think they've got the angle. Then suddenly, their energy changes. The obsession evaporates. Their confidence dies. They back off, looking confused, restless, even scared. You didn't confront them, you didn't beg, you didn't fight, but something hit them harder than any confrontation ever could. Because someone intervened, someone higher, someone with authority your enemies couldn't match. Some people don't stop attacking because they grew up. They stop because they got checked by someone above their rank. Your enemies don't talk about it, but they felt it, that shift, that pressure, that invisible hand pushing them back. They don't know who stepped in. They just know they suddenly couldn't touch you anymore. The smear campaigns lost momentum. The sabotage failed to stick. The rumors dried up. The obsession drained out like someone pulled the plug from their ego. Picture this metaphor, a dog barking aggressively until it suddenly senses something bigger behind the person it's barking at. The bark dies in its throat. It walks away pretending it wasn't interested in the first place. That was your enemies. Loud until silence made more sense. And here's the part that twists their stomachs. Your protectors didn't intervene for thanks. They didn't need your applause. They didn't even want recognition. They acted because eliminating threats against you was efficient, necessary, strategic. Power doesn't need gratitude. Power just needs you alive long enough to become who you're meant to be. So when threats faded, when obsessions dissolved, when the attacks mysteriously fizzled out, it wasn't because your enemies suddenly respected you. It was because they were reminded that you are off limits. Someone made sure of it, silently, effortlessly, decisively. And that's why you're still standing while your enemies are still trying to figure out who exactly they crossed. Number 6. Why you're being built like a weapon, not a victim. You weren't being broken. You were being upgraded in ways your enemies were too small-minded to understand. Chosen one, let's be brutally honest. You're not just surviving anymore. Survival was the beginner level. Now you're being cultivated, shaped, monitored and sharpened like an asset with long-term value. Not because anyone felt sorry for you, not because of kindness, not because of charity. This is strategy, this is preparation, this is refinement under watch. The people in high places didn't step in to save a fragile soul. They stepped in because they saw potential that your enemies were too blind, too threatened or too jealous to recognize. They saw someone worth protecting because your existence shifts the environment around you. Imagine this, a blade in the fire, glowing red, looking weak to anyone who doesn't know metallurgy. But to a master, that heat isn't destruction, it's transformation. That was you. Every betrayal was another degree of heat. Every loss was another hammer strike. Every isolation period was another round in the forge. Pain didn't shape you, precision did. You weren't just suffering, you were being refined. You weren't spiraling, you were being carved into something lean, focused, dangerous. You weren't forgotten, you were being watched, evaluated, developed. Ever wonder why the wrong people fell away exactly when they did? Why every betrayal eventually exposed someone you needed to see clearly? Why every heartbreak stripped away your attachments to weak connections? Because cultivation requires separation. Protection requires pruning. Elevation requires discomfort. Your protectors, the ones in high places, weren't just shielding you. They were studying how you adapted, how you fought, how you rose. And every time you refused to collapse, they took note. Every time you handled pressure with intelligence instead of chaos, something in your file rose a level. You weren't being tested, you were being prepared. They're investing in you because you're becoming something the average person can't replicate, can't predict, and definitely can't control. That's why you're still here, and that's why they're watching. Number 7. The weight of being guarded by people who don't play games. Being protected by power isn't a compliment. It's a contract, and you're the only one expected to rise to it. Chosen one, protection this deep isn't soft, gentle, or emotional. It's heavy. It's calculated. It's the kind of protection that comes with expectations strapped to your back like armor you didn't ask for but can't take off. The people in high places who stepped in for you didn't do it because they felt bad or because you needed rescuing. They did it because they saw something in you worth developing, worth sharpening, worth preparing. You're not being treated like a charity case. You're being treated like a weapon still glowing in the fire. Imagine standing in a forge, flames around you, pressure shaping you, heat strengthening you. That's why your life hasn't been easy. That's why your lessons hit harder than everyone else's. That's why your setbacks weren't small. Because they weren't setbacks. They were sculpting, and the ones protecting you weren't guarding you from the fire. They were guarding the forge itself. Power doesn't protect weakness. Power protects potential. Your protectors are not sentimental. They don't pat heads or hand out emotional therapy. They look at outcomes, capability, pattern, discipline. Their goal is simple: ensure you become someone who can move through the world without collapsing under pressure, someone whose presence changes the room, someone whose voice carries weight, someone who matters. And yes, that comes with responsibility. You're expected to rise. You're expected to evolve. You're expected to handle pressure without folding. Ever wonder why nothing in your life has come easy? Why the universe made you learn through pain instead of comfort? Because forging requires force. You're not being protected so you can stay the same. You're being protected so you can become dangerous in all the right ways. They're not protecting you from the fire. They're protecting the fire from being interrupted. Number 8. The blueprint that was hiding in plain sight. Funny how the puzzle makes perfect sense once you realize someone else was arranging the pieces behind your back. Chosen one, now the pattern is finally visible. You're seeing the stitchwork, the timing, the precision. All those moments that felt random, chaotic, unfair. Now they line up like a map someone quietly drew for you long before you knew you'd need it. Those doors that opened at impossible moments. Those weren't miracles. Those weren't lucky breaks. Those were moves, deliberate ones, coordinated ones. Think about it. A stranger shows up at the exact second you're about to fall apart. An opportunity appears when your entire world is collapsing. A situation that should have crushed you somehow bends in your favor. You didn't imagine that timing. You lived inside a system designed to keep you moving forward, even when everything else was trying to bury you. Pain didn't miss you. It just wasn't allowed to finish you. Imagine standing on a cliff, slipping, losing your grip. You think you're about to fall straight into nothing, but right before the drop, a hidden platform catches you. You didn't know it existed, but someone knew you'd need it. That's how your life has been. Platforms you never saw, safety nets you never recognized, hands you'll never meet. Your enemies swear you're lucky, but luck doesn't coordinate timing down to the second. Luck doesn't send the right person at the right moment. Luck doesn't reroute disasters that were already mid-air. This was infrastructure. This was surveillance. This was strategy with your name written into the blueprint. Ever wonder why your lowest moments didn't bury you? Why grief didn't swallow you whole, why betrayal didn't break your identity, because you were allowed to feel the pain, but not allowed to die in it. They didn't stop your suffering, they stopped it from becoming your ending. The universe made sure the fire burned you just enough to shape you, not enough to destroy you. And the people in high places, they coordinated the exits, the timing, the resources, the unexpected lifelines. They ensured that your story didn't collapse into a grave, but instead sharpened into a future. Now you can finally see it. The alignment, the timing, the impossible rescue missions executed in silence. You were never wandering blindly. You were being guided through a battlefield you didn't even know you were walking across. And now that you see the pattern, chosen one, you'll never unsee it again. Number 9. Why your enemies are shaking like they saw a ghost behind you. Nothing scares a coward more than realizing they're not fighting you. They're fighting whatever stands behind you. Chosen one, your enemies aren't just uncomfortable. They're panicking, full-body panic, sleepless night panic, checking over their shoulder panic. And the funniest part, they don't even know who or what they're up against. They only know something keeps shutting down their attacks before they land. Something keeps destroying their traps the moment they set them. Something keeps flipping every perfect sabotage into their own humiliation. Imagine trying to punch someone and your fist disappears mid-air. Try again, gone. Try a third time, and suddenly you're the one stumbling backward. That's what it feels like for them. They think they're fighting you. But they're really swinging at a force they cannot identify, cannot trace, cannot reason with. They're not afraid of your strength. They're afraid of the invisible hands that keep wiping their fingerprints off your downfall. Every time they try to isolate you, someone unexpected shows up. Every time they try to block you, a door opens somewhere else. Every time they try to ruin you, something removes the fuel from their fire. And trust me, nothing terrifies a manipulator more than losing control over a target they were sure they owned. Your enemies can feel it, the shift, the pressure, the resistance they never accounted for. They whisper to each other, "Why isn't this working? Who's protecting them? What's going on?" Imagine a hunter setting traps in the woods, only to wake up and see every trap dismantled with surgical precision. No footprints, no sound, no explanation, just erased. That's what's happening to them. Real power doesn't roar. Real power deletes. You're not just hard to destroy, you're protected by forces that don't need recognition, credit, or applause. And your enemies? They're finally realizing they picked a fight with someone who isn't standing alone. That's why they're panicking, and that panic is only getting louder. Number 10. Why you're the one they couldn't corrupt or control. They didn't choose you because you were perfect. They chose you because you were the one thing their system couldn't rewrite. Chosen one, let's make this painfully clear. You weren't selected at random. You weren't picked because you were convenient. You were chosen because you didn't break the way they predicted. You were supposed to crumble, malfunction, obey, collapse under pressure. They tried to program you with fear, insecurity, and self-doubt, but something in you rejected the code like a firewall built from fire. You carry something they can't manufacture in a lab or steal from someone else. Your authenticity, unclonable. Your integrity, unshakable. Your inner fire. It burns without permission and without apology. Some people bend under pressure. You became pressure. Imagine a system designed to shape everyone the same way, neat, predictable, controllable. Then imagine you walking into that system and breaking every prediction. They pressed you, but you didn't fold. They tested you, but you didn't crack. They isolated you, but you didn't shrink. You did the one thing they feared most. You stayed yourself. Ever wonder why they kept targeting you specifically? Ever wonder why every manipulator in your life tried to fix you or calm you down or reshape your mindset because they could feel it, that dangerous, uncontrollable core that refuses to play by the script? Authenticity is a weapon. Most people never develop it. You were born with it. Chosen one, your protectors saw what your enemies feared. You can't be bought. You can't be trained into obedience. You can't be absorbed into their systems. You don't collapse. You evolve. The system fears people like you because you expose everything fake without even trying. Your very presence highlights everything weak in them. They look at you and see the one thing they can't manufacture, a real one. And that's why you were chosen, not because you fit the mold, but because you shattered it. Number 11. The real power they slipped into your hands without you noticing. They thought starving you of resources would break you. They didn't realize the only thing you truly needed was time, and you got it. Chosen one, let's expose the part of the story that almost nobody ever understands. The real gift you were given wasn't cash, attention, titles, fame, applause, or even safety. All of those things can vanish. All of those things can be stolen. All of those things can be manipulated. What you were given was time. And time is the weapon every enemy underestimates. Time to rebuild when your world cracked. Time to grow sharper while they assumed you were weak. Time to study people, patterns, systems. Time to heal wounds they swore would destroy you permanently. Time to become dangerous in ways that don't require noise, threats, or retaliation. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is training. Imagine this. While they were laughing at you, thinking you'd been defeated, the universe placed you in a quiet chamber, a workshop, where nothing could touch you long enough for you to evolve. They thought they'd slowed you down. Truth is, they gave you breathing space to outgrow their entire strategy. And while you were given time, they were given rope. Rope to lie, rope to scheme, rope to expose themselves, rope to dig holes big enough to fall into. You didn't have to punish them, you didn't have to clap back, you didn't have to expose them. They did it to themselves with every move they made, while the universe let them think they were winning. Time sharpens the real ones and strangles the fakes. One day, not today, not tomorrow, but at the exact moment the universe decides the timing is perfect, that rope will tighten, quietly, effortlessly, precisely. And when it does, the downfall won't come from your hands. It will come from the same protection that's been shadowing you since the beginning, finally revealing its teeth. Imagine a trapdoor they didn't know they were standing on. Imagine the ground shifting under them while you don't even flinch. Imagine justice unfolding without you needing to move a muscle. That's the kind of protection you've had all along. Not loud, not glamorous, but surgical, relentless, inevitable. Ever wonder why your enemies look exhausted? Why they act scared around you without reason? Why they can't maintain the same confidence they used to throw in your face? Because deep down, they feel it. The countdown. The turning tide, the shift they can't explain. Chosen one, you're not alone. You never were. You were simply given time to become the version of yourself that can't be erased, replaced, or controlled. And now that the transformation is almost complete, the universe is preparing to show them exactly who they were messing with. Number 12. The revelation they never saw coming. They spent years trying to break you, never realizing they were helping build the exact version of you that will outlive every one of them. Chosen one, this is where the story stops pretending. This is where the mask drops. This is where everything clicks into place with a clarity so sharp it feels like a blade down the spine. You've reached the part of your journey where the universe stops protecting you quietly and starts revealing exactly why you were protected in the first place. And trust me, the reveal isn't gentle. It isn't soft. It isn't poetic. It's devastating, but not for you. For them, your enemies spent half their lives underestimating you and the other half trying to undo what the universe already signed off on. They didn't realize every insult they threw at you made you immune. Every betrayal they delivered made you smarter. Every attempt to isolate you made your focus lethal. They were shaping a force they couldn't control. They were forging something they were never supposed to touch. Pressure either crushes you or crowns you. Guess which side you're standing on now. You've crossed into rare territory, the zone where people stop questioning your survival and start questioning their own decisions. The moment where every single thing they tried to use to bury you becomes the exact material you stand on now. Imagine a battlefield after the chaos ends. Smoke clearing, silence spreading. You walk forward with steady steps, not because you're showing off, but because you finally understand the truth. You were never meant to be the casualty. You were meant to be the conclusion. They kept thinking you'd break. But breaking was never in your blueprint. They kept thinking you'd quit. But quitting was never in your wiring. They kept thinking you'd disappear. But disappearing is impossible for people who were built to be seen eventually. The universe wasn't just watching you. It was preparing you, not for revenge, not for glory, but for clarity. For the moment where you'd finally see yourself through a lens unfiltered by trauma, betrayal, or survival mode. For the moment where you'd recognize the depth of your resilience without needing anyone to clap for it. You weren't chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you refused to die in the chapters they wrote for you. And now comes the ending they never predicted. You walk forward untouched while they're left replaying every move they made against you, realizing too late that every single one was recorded in the universe's ledger. The protection that shielded you is now repositioning itself, not to defend you, but to deliver the final balance. No explosions, no dramatic showdowns, just truth catching up to the ones who ran from it. This is your closing chapter, not the end of your story, but the end of your silence, the end of doubt, the end of letting small people convince you that your destiny was fragile. You survived everything they swore would kill you. You outgrew every cage they tried to lock you in. And now you walk into the next stage of your life with the power of someone who knows exactly what they survived and exactly who stood behind them the entire time. Congratulations, chosen one. You weren't protected for nothing. You were protected because your story isn't done. It's just beginning. And now we reach the point everything has been building toward. The moment you step out of the shadows, knowing exactly who you are, what protected you, and why you're still standing while others fell apart trying to break you. This is your turning point, chosen one, the shift the universe has been preparing.